Great. Well, my clock is showing noon, so it looks like we can get underway. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Wachunas from Solar Oregon. Welcome to our webinar on solar shingles. I first want to introduce you to my colleague, Zach Snyder, who's going to be helping me co-host this webinar. And Zach's going to be delivering a message from Solar Oregon regarding this challenging time that we find ourselves in. Go ahead, Zach.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Zach Snyder with Solar Oregon. I just want to say we've all borne witness to the brutal and dehumanizing murder of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police. And this issue is in the spotlight right now because it's not uncommon. It's the lived experience of so many people in America and across the world. I don't have any words of condolence right now. I don't think that this is a time for condolence. I think that this is a time for action. And I hope that you're taking action, however that feels good to you, whether that's talking with your communities about it, whether that's making donations to organizations, Black-led organizations in particular doing good work, or joining peaceful protests. It's all useful. And we suggest making a donation to a Black-led organization, either here locally in Oregon or one nationally. For example, the Portland Urban League, the Portland African American Leadership Forum, the African American Alliance for Homeownership, Black Lives Matter, or there's a lot of organizations doing great work. And June is usually Solar Oregon's membership month. And this is a time when we make a push for membership and ask for new members and old members to renew their membership. And this month in June, if you get in touch with us at info@solaroregon.org and you show us a receipt of a donation for $40 or more to a Black-led organization, we'll give you a free Solar Oregon membership. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the program today.
Great, thanks so much, Zach. Let me just get into this program by introducing first Solar Oregon. For those of you who don't know, Solar Oregon has been a nonprofit for over 40 years, educating people on clean energy, energy efficiency, and climate change. And we do lots of different things kind of featured on this screen, but one thing I just want to call out that today's program will be a program on the emerging technology of solar shingles. For our more general basics of solar education, we totally recommend that you come to either a Basics of Solar webinar or check us out on YouTube, and that'll give you the general education. This is a specific emerging technology that is not quite yet mainstream solar yet. So with that preface, like Zach said, June is Members Month, and we would, of course, love your membership or your donation to a Black-led organization. So thank you so much to our hundreds of members who make our work possible. On June 20th, a little plug, we're going to be having an energy resilience webinar to talk about solar plus storage. We will put a link in the chat room for you to be able to sign up for that. Please join us. It'll be a fantastic event. Okay, let me introduce our partners for today. Today's webinar is made possible with support from the Energy Trust of Oregon. For those of you who don't know the Energy Trust, they're an incredible nonprofit that helps the consumer through many clean energy journeys, in particular solar. So the first stop on your solar journey should be to energytrust.org. We'll put a link in the chat room. Thank you to Energy Trust for their great partnership. Another partner on today's webinar is Solar Power World. Our guest Kelly Pickerel is from Solar Power World. And I'll just give you a little background on them. They're the premier media outlet for the US solar market that has the largest solar installer, contractor, and developer audience in the industry. Solar Power World produces daily online news content, weekly newsletters, bi-monthly print issues, regular webinars, podcasts, videos, and social media relevant to the solar installation market. Now, Kelly, I'll introduce Kelly in just a second, but Kelly wrote a great article on solar shingles and Solar Power World that we'll put in the chat room for you to check out as well. So excited to be partnering with them. And then we're also partnering with our umbrella organization, ASIS, the American Solar Energy Society, and here to talk about their conference coming up, the Solar 2020 conference, is Carly Cipolla. Carly.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so thanks everyone who's joined today for the webinar with Solar Oregon. I'm Carly Cipolla. I'm the Director of Operations for the American Solar Energy Society. We are a national solar nonprofit focused on providing resources and information, advocating for sustainable living and renewable energy, and powering progress through our programs. One of our largest and most successful programs is our National Solar Conference. This year it is June 24th and 25th, so just a couple weeks away. And it's the 49th anniversary of our conference this year, and also the first time we're going to be doing the conference completely virtually. So it'll be all online. We were going to be in Washington, D.C., and we're no longer doing that due to the pandemic. So we'll be all online. It's easier than ever for you guys to join us. So please consider registering. We are focusing on sharing information on solar policy, renewable energy education, financing, how to put solar on your home, how to make that effective, as well as doing some talks and sessions on emerging technologies. So definitely worth registering for. And you can do that at asis.org/conference. You can also learn more about our sessions and our speakers there and register. We will, since it will be virtual, we'll have a lobby that you guys will be able to walk into. It'll be fully animated, kind of like you're at a real conference. And then we'll also have like an auditorium that you can visit where you'll be able to watch all the live and recorded sessions. We'll have a networking lounge. So we're really focused on cultivating community at this conference and being sure that you're able to speak to one another. Attendees, participants, speakers will all be able to connect in our networking area. And then we'll also have an exhibitor hall for all of our sponsors and partner organizations to be in there as well. So feel free to learn more, asis.org/conference. And I would like to offer you guys a discount for joining the webinar today and being a part of Powering Progress yourself. 15% off your registration with the promo code 2020 partner, as it's listed here in the slide. ASIS members also receive additional discounts. So if you're interested, feel free to check out our memberships, asis.org/join. And if you have any questions at all about the conference, feel free to reach out to me. The email address is solar2020@asis.org. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you join us at the conference, and I hope you join ASIS or Solar Oregon, or I love what they're doing, supporting a Black-led organization by donating and joining that way. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in June.
Great, thanks so much, Carly. Really appreciate it. We'll put those links in the chat room as well for you to just click on it and check out this conference. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great. And real quick, we will, and Carly, I know you also have to go, so feel free to drop off, no problem at all. Just a real quick on the bottom of your screen, if you have any questions for the panelists today, go ahead and throw them in the Q&A. There's also the chat button if you want to type out any of your ideas. Zach and I will be responding to those. We will have our panelists do about 15 to 20 minute presentations each, and then we'll save a good 20 minutes for the Q&A at the end, save all the questions. We will also, of course, if you've been to our webinars before, we love polling, and we want to launch a quick poll of where people are tuning in from. So it will take a couple seconds to see where people are tuning in from, and then we'll get going with our program. See how much of an audience is from the Northwest. Give it about 10 more seconds. Great. Okay, I'm going to share the results. Of course, most from Oregon, but other parts of the U.S. So welcome to everyone who's on this webinar today. Great. So let me close my window here. Great. Solar shingles. Solar shingles or roof tiles have been a dream for a long time. Our roofs just sit there all day absorbing the sun. And for 20 years, we've been putting panels on them. But who wouldn't want to integrate the panels right into the roof tiles themselves? Many companies have tried making solar shingles in the last 10 plus years, and many have failed. Many have gone bankrupt. In 2016, when Tesla acquired Solar City, which at the time was the leading installer of solar panels in the US, afterwards they shortly announced that they were going to produce solar roof tiles, solar shingles. And suddenly these solar shingles were back front and center in the public consciousness. So Tesla, of course, has a way of marketing without spending any money, and they have succeeded where others have failed. So people are excited about these. And a quick disclaimer: Solar Oregon is, of course, a nonprofit, brand neutral. We don't promote any one company or any one technology. We invite different companies to speak at our events to tell you about their expertise. But of course, we encourage everyone to do a lot of research and get lots of bids. So that's my disclaimer. But as we've been giving solar education throughout the state of Oregon and in our webinars, we have gotten a lot of questions. We've heard time and again, what about these solar shingles? And our standard response has been, well, they're not quite on the market yet. And it's new technology, and our usual basics of solar deals with existing technology. But right now seems like a good time to check in on the progress of this technology and answer questions like, have solar shingles arrived in our area? Do they work? How do they work? What are the benefits and drawbacks of solar shingles versus solar panels? What do costs look like? And what are the different companies producing solar shingles today? So I'm extremely excited to have our panelists help answer these questions, and let me get right to introducing them. Our first panelist will be Kelly Pickerel. She's the editor-in-chief of Solar Power World. Kelly's been involved with publishing in the solar industry since 2011. Her area of focus for Solar Power World include solar panel manufacturing, energy storage, installation companies. She's also the host of the Contractors Corner podcast and leads the development of Solar Power World's annual top contractors list. Again, Kelly wrote the article that we'll be putting in the chat on solar shingles. And our second guest is Steven Perkins. He's from Tesla. Steven started with Tesla early in 2015, back in the days when Tesla only had one vehicle and energy integration was only part of Elon's secret master plan. Steven's helped integrate the solar into sales processes when Tesla and Solar City merged, and he helped launch Tesla in the Northwest region, Tesla Solar. Steven spends every other waking moment not working, trying to make fun memories with his perfect family. So I'll stop talking here, and we'll turn over the floor to Kelly for our first panelist.
All right. Thank you so much. I am going to share my screen and show you some slides here. Okay, so yeah, like Joe said, I'm Kelly Pickerel. I'm editor-in-chief of Solar Power World magazine. We are a trade publication that's been around since 2011, and we largely report on issues that affect the thousands of solar installers across the country. So we have podcasts, videos, webinars, articles, everything's for free online. So I really encourage you to check us out. Our website, solarpowerworldonline.com. I have a specific focus on solar panel technology, so I have been following solar shingles for about the past decade. So I'm happy to give you an overview of the products. So first, I want to show the differences between the various solar panel installations. So everyone is pretty familiar with traditional solar panels. They're the rectangular grids of solar cells that are framed and attached to the roof, either with rails or direct foot attachments. These traditional systems extend out from the roof. They are not flush with the roof. As you can see on the right, you can see the rails underneath the solar panels, so they are slightly elevated from the roof. So the rest of the technologies that I'm going to be referring to, we call those building applied photovoltaics because they're applied alongside building materials for a more uniform look. So first, kind of within the solar shingles realm is what we call rackless solar. So some examples of these include the Certainty Apollo system and the GAF Energy Decotech system. So both systems come from traditional roofing manufacturers, and then they kind of got into solar. So in these cases, traditionally sized panels, in the case of GAF Energy, those are normal size panels, and Certainty's system is actually a little bit smaller panels. They are installed alongside asphalt shingles or tiles, and they're typically attached directly to the roofing deck. So there are no shingles or tiles underneath those solar systems, and these systems aren't camouflaged into the roof completely, but they do provide low profile aesthetics that you can't get with traditional elevated racks. And you also get the benefit of more solar output because they are traditional sized solar panels. That's rackless solar. Building applied photovoltaics, the next category is the solar shingles and tiles. So that's for an even more uniform look. You can turn to the solar shingle. And so in these situations, small solar cells are individually placed in tiles. An entire roof is replaced with these solar tiles, and other dummy tiles that look similar to the solar tiles are placed around them. So there are no asphalt shingles surrounding the solar generating tiles at all. It's a completely new roof. So for example, here we have solar tiles from Daysol Power Tiles, and an entire roof is installed using their polypropylene tiles, and some of the tiles have solar cells embedded. The tiles are screwed directly to the roof deck, and the roof does look more uniform in design, although the solar tiles are shinier than the solid polymer tiles. You can kind of definitely see in the middle of that roof, the solar tiles are shinier. So here's another example of solar shingles. These are from Luma Solar. Luma designs custom solar roofs using larger solar tiles connected together for the entire roof span. So similarly sized metal panels are used along the roof perimeter or where solar cells can't perform. So as you can see, this looks even more uniform than even the Daysol power tiles from the previous slide. And it does look obvious that you can see the solar, but this is a overhead shot, and from the ground level, it doesn't look as obvious that there are solar tiles up there. Now, Tesla's solar roof is obviously the more aesthetically pleasing solar roof option. Solar cells are hidden behind tempered glass, and matching non-solar tiles are used along the roofing edges. And the Tesla solar roof replaces the entire roof, so no other roofing materials like shingles or tiles are used. And obviously, Steven will talk more about this when he gets into his presentation. Now, the burning questions, I'm going to try my best to kind of break things down, the power and cost of these systems. So obviously, we want to state up front that, you know, the cost of solar and the cost of roofs differ and are unique to your situation. But for just a basic example, here on the left, a traditional residential solar panel runs around 300 to 350 watts. And so if your house can fit 15 solar panels, like in this example, that's around 5,000 watts or 5 kilowatts of power. So the average cost per watt to install in Oregon right now is about $2.64 per watt. So this 5,000 watt system would cost about $13,200 to install, and that is without incentives, without the investment tax credit, without, you know, any of those other deals that are readily available. And this is also just the cost of a solar system. No new roof is involved, no new roofing materials. For an average, a new asphalt shingle roof on a 2,000 square foot home at maybe $4 per square foot might run around $8,000. So then if you look at the rackless system that GAF Energy has, since they use full-size solar panels, you likely could get a 5 kilowatt solar system for the exact same price as a traditional solar, but maybe the roof would be costing a little bit less because you're not having to replace the shingles completely underneath where those solar panels are. So things get a little bit trickier though when you start to talk about solar shingles specifically, because then you're looking at a cost per square foot of roofing rather than a cost per watt. So with the Luma Solar tiles, each individual tile runs around 70 watts. You can compare that to a solar panel that's 350 watts. So obviously the Luma Solar tiles are much smaller than a traditional solar panel, so that drop in power output is understandable. But then are you going to have your entire roof be solar? Can your entire roof even support solar? How many dummy tiles are you going to need? On Luma's website, they do offer their tiles at $4.50 per watt installed, which is about twice as much as traditional solar. Or you could do a full roof at about $38 per square foot, but that's not, I don't know how much power you might be able to get out of that. That's kind of up to the design of your roof and how you're doing everything. So again, Steven can talk more about this, but the last that I saw, the Tesla solar glass product averaged around 25 watts per tile. And that's because they're very custom and they are smaller. And for a full roof replacement with solar from Tesla, the estimates online said it's about $21 per square foot. And that also doesn't mean that the entire roof is producing energy. You're not getting 50 kilowatts out of that roof. Some of them might be dummy tiles. Everything is custom, but in the example that Tesla has online, a 2,000 square foot roof with 10 kilowatts of solar power might run about $42,500. By comparison, a brand new roof with traditional solar at 10 kilowatts, that comes up to about $34,400. So it's about $10,000 cheaper, but does it look as nice? Maybe not really. So if you're not replacing your roof and you're looking to maximize your power output, you're looking for a very specific power output that you want to get from solar, traditional solar panels are always going to be the most cost-effective choice. But if you care more about aesthetics and you aren't looking for a very specific amount that of power that you need to run on, solar shingles and solar roofs will definitely give you power, and they're going to look very, very nice. And then just one last note for me, if you are looking into solar shingles because your HOA is giving you pushback on installing solar panels and you think a solar roof will have an easier time getting approved by your HOA, HOAs are prohibited by Oregon law and in many states across the country to prevent you from installing a solar system. So many HOAs have established reasonable rules related to the aesthetics and placements of solar equipment, like maybe they're preventing you from putting solar panels on the front of your home, but they cannot outright ban your use of solar panels. So yes, a solar roof would probably avoid this fight with the HOA, but you cannot be denied the right to go solar with traditional solar panels. And there are ways around these bylaws, so do your research if you want to go solar. I know that Solar Oregon has a lot of research and documents online that kind of go over this, so I definitely encourage you to look that up. And there are many local solar installers that are already well versed in HOAs and how you can go solar. So just make sure you talk with them and try to go solar however you can. That's it for me.
Great. Thanks so much, Kelly. Perfect. This is great. As many of you have been to our other webinars, we usually blow way past our time limits, and we're doing well today. So this is great.
I talk really fast, so there you go.
We're great. Cool. Let me turn the floor over to Steven. Steven, go ahead and take it away.
Okie doke. Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? And seeing the screen and all that good stuff. All right. It is a pleasure to talk with you all, be here and just in front of you all, just to speak on behalf of this new product. Like Joe and Kelly were saying, absolutely, if you can go solar in any way, let me just start by saying if it's sustainable, we're a fan. If it isn't with Tesla or anything else, absolutely, just get some solar on that roof. Outside of that, again, it is my pleasure to talk about our solar roof and sort of the evolution that it's gone through. I'm going to touch on a lot of topics, and I'll try to keep it as not dry as I put this together. And I tend to talk about as fast as Kelly as well, so I apologize in advance. So here we go. Looking at Tesla solar roof, there's been a bit of an evolution of it. Some of those pictures that you see over here on the left are, when Elon was showing it off, they had the 4 different textures of it, from your more terracotta style to your slate style to your the styles that we have now, the smooth and then the textured. It went through a few different names. Oh, look, we have a guest. Solar glass roof.
This is welcome to my life. I've got 2 kids as well, and this happens all the time. So.
Gotta love the quarantine life. All right, so solar glass roof into solar roof, and into that picture on the right, as you see with the bigger tiles that I'll show you here in a moment. To go right through this, let's see. We have 4 things I want to point out with that picture on the left. You might have seen a iteration or 2 of this, but as you see going down onto the roof, we have those textured solar roof tiles. Underneath is the wiring. It's all integrated into the tiles themselves. Underneath that, next to the decking of your roof itself, you have the weatherproofing underlayment. And that weatherproofing underlayment I'll go into a bit as well. Lastly, you have the flashing. So all the flashing pieces, in addition to the PV tiles or the roof tiles themselves, like Kelly was referring to, some of those inert tiles, if you will. You have the flashing as well that will go around, that will continue to seal the rest of your product. So as you see on there, on the right, the process goes a little bit like the removal of your current roof, and we'll perform structural upgrades on top if it needs it. The waterproofing and flashing goes down. The solar roof and power wall installation go in right after that. And then we commission it with utility approvals. To talk a little bit more about the evolution of the product, our engineering team has been working really hard to design a more affordable and scalable sort of solar roof. So that's why we moved from the individual tiles to the bigger ones. As you've seen with price too, we don't want it to be twice the price, half the output, and I'll give you some visuals on that later as well. But this is more affordable, and we expect customers to see about 20 to 30% lower prices when configuring this new version of solar roof. There are 60% fewer individual parts compared to the previous versions. And there are 20% more efficient tiles relative to the prior versions because of that larger tile, which reduces the inactive areas. And again, there's the new form factor contributes to cost savings with fewer electrical connections, mounting brackets, and installation steps. There's kind of a little blueprint on the bottom, and you'll see the tile here in one moment. But moving right along here, a little bit more about how they work. We definitely do customize each one of these systems for your home. Here's a little bit more of an up-close view of, say, the top or corners of your roof, where things can get a lot more intricate in how we're going to customize that. Those custom designed flashings and ridge caps fit around your home's unique design and roof pitch, while accentuating the solar roof tiles and ensuring maximum weatherproofing. So it looks better and lasts longer. Moving right along with it, again, you can also see your heat vents and your skylights and your waste vents are all going to be just fine. In addition to that, the solar roof itself does have heat vents built into the tiles themselves, so they over the roof caps as well. It can vent heat right out of those, and invisible vents that you won't really see. Here is a quick picture again of the different materials that you could have on there, from the roofing material to the PV modules themselves, the flashings that go on the side. What you're seeing in the middle there, these diode trunk harnesses are what connect all of these tiles in sequence. And then of course you can see a positive and negative return on there, basically just giving you a very high level overview of how those tiles can go on. Again, going back to the underlayment, the weatherproofing underlayment up here at the top picture, you can see the amount of layers of that underlayment that are going to go on to make sure that the roof is fully protected there. Down below that, you're going to see a little bit of that picture of, again, a little bit of that breakdown from the previous slide, where there was a sample of which tiles will go where and how that extends over your entire roof. Over on the left, a little bit about module and tile overview. The textured glass weighs approximately 4.7 pounds per square feet. The smooth glass, approximately 4.9 pounds per square feet. And let's see here. She's got to be with that. All right. Here's a quick picture of the traditional PV versus solar roof. When we had initially started with this, you were going to get at least 15% more solar from a solar roof than you would with traditional PV panels, just because of the additional roof that you're going to be covering. We're starting to average a little bit more than that now, as you can see from the picture where the solar tiles are covering on that roof. I just, again, wanted to point out a little bit of the pictures of what the PV modules look like versus what the 1 or 3 roofing tiles could look like, so it continues to customize your roof. The roofing and power producing modules do look exactly the same. And the modules themselves are much lower voltage, less than 4 volts. That diode trunk harness that I was talking about is a picture of it just below there. And to show you a little bit what that looks like in person, here is a human-sized scale of that solar roof tile. So can't really even get it fully into the frame there. You'll see full here in one moment, but I wanted to make sure that you at least saw that the solar roof tiles are here. They are here in the Northwest. I'm reporting to you live from the Northwest, where we have these solar tiles showing up and plenty of homes being permitted for them. So much to Joe's point earlier about, we want to focus on technologies that are here. Thankfully, it's here. And there's the dimension there, the 15 inches by the 45 inches for that tile itself. Touching a little bit more on warranty, durability, and certifications, you can expect your solar roof to have a 30-year operating life, but the warranties are going to be 25 years. Much like traditional panels, you know that the power is going to continue producing far after warranties are out. But of course, just to put that up there, we want to have it last longer than a traditional roof would. The safety standards that the solar roof has been evaluated for meet and exceed all of the wind, fire, and all other certifications that are needed. We want to make sure this is the safest product out there as well. It goes along with all the other Tesla standards of if it isn't safe, we aren't doing it. And let's see here. Much like your solar roof, your power wall also will have a 10-year warranty if you want to have that integrated into your system as well. Just to touch on this a bit, this is pretty important. The product warranty itself, like I was saying, 25 years, free from defects. Weatherization, your solar roof will remain in place and prevent damage to your home caused by the passage of wind and rain through your solar roof for 25 years from the date of installation. And then the power warranty, I thought this was important as well. Your solar roof will decline by no more than 0.5% each year. So you can expect it to continue producing that power for, again, long after the warranty is there. A wall of text coming at you here. As far as just frequently asked questions go, how is it attached? These modules right here will be screwed right into your roof, and or screwed right into the decking rather, and you'll get to see the entire installation process. If you go through with getting a proposal, you'll see a little bit more of that. But like I touched on it a bit earlier, 4.7 and 4.9 pounds per square foot on the tiles for their weight. A lot of people are concerned about just the weight of panels. Can your roof handle it? The weight of tiles, will your roof be caving in? Absolutely not. We'll make sure that you're safe. Is the solar roof a tile or a shingle? I think Kelly touched on this earlier as well. I really appreciated that with all the other products out there, we are going into a really new place where we don't really know what to refer to things as, whether it be is that a tile, is it a shingle, is it a roof? It's unique, it's new, it's not inert. That's what we know. You have a roof that produces power now, and that will continue to surely evolve. I'll save some of the other FAQs for the Q&A session there, so I don't just talk your ears off or anything, but I just want to thank you for allowing me to just give you a pretty high-level overview of our solar roof and where it is now.
Cool. Thanks so much, Steven. And I think we were all extremely impressed how you juggled giving your presentation and having your daughter at the same time. That was very impressive. So I'll let, we do have some questions coming in from the chat, and yeah, so why don't we, Zach, you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions. The first one here for you, Kelly, is when you were going over your cost estimates for the different systems that you talked about. The question here is, did that include storage?
No, no storage was included in that. That was just the solar panels and the equipment to install the solar panels, no storage.
Great. I've got another question here, which I'm going to attempt to answer. This question is, I live in a historic area that prohibits solar panels that are visible from the street. This is not an HOA, it's a historic district permitting. Any ideas on how to get around this? Can I force them to change the permitting, or will Tesla Solar satisfy the requirement? The historic district area, that's a different thing from an HOA. That is going to tend to be a bit more strict. And Solar Oregon has worked with homeowners in the past to get around some historic district measures preventing their installing solar. And in the specific case that I'm thinking of, that was we had to prove that the solar was not going to be visible from the sidewalk out front. And so it wouldn't actually violate the rule. I can't speak to whether the solar shingle will be prevented by historic districts. Historic districts have different rules. They're not uniform bodies across the country. And solar shingles and solar roof may help because it does reduce the visibility, which is, I think, a main concern there. But some historic codes do prevent certain roof tile types. And so it kind of comes down to how those rules are written and how they're interpreted. Regardless, it'll probably require some kind of appeal or approval process, unfortunately. We have our next question is about the federal incentive, the biggest incentive for solar. This is the investment tax credit. And I am going to kick this to you, Steven. Does the full cost, if you know, does the full cost of the entire solar roof install qualify for the investment tax credit, or only the sections with PV cells? And I do want to make a general note that nobody should take a word about something that involves tax advice from anybody but a tax professional, but maybe you have some guidance, general guidance on this.
Yeah, again, same disclaimer, but yeah, typically when customers have purchased the solar roof, the ITC is for the entire product, not just the solar producing portion.
Great. We've got more questions here. This is, I don't know if we'll have any hard and fast data on this. Maybe I'll put this one to you, Kelly. Which panels deal with hail best? And this person is thinking Midwest locations in particular, where yearly hail damage is pretty serious. Any thoughts on that?
Sure, yeah. I'm actually in the Midwest too, so I completely understand those concerns. All solar panels go through testing and, UL testing. They're tested to certain standards, and hail damage is one of those standards. So any solar panel that has the appropriate standards that you're buying brands that you have actually heard of, they should definitely be able to outlast hail damage. And then if not, there's always warranties associated with those solar panels that specifically deal with hail damage. So there are workarounds from that. But if you go with a tier 1, a known solar panel brand, you should definitely be okay from any type of hail.
Great. Another question we have here is, do solar shingles or solar roof work for a flat roof? And maybe Steven.
Yeah. As far as the roof minimum roof pitch, 2 inches for every 12 inches horizontally. So it's a pretty shallow pitch. That's the minimum is, like I was saying, 2 inches for every 12 inches. So it's a very small, almost 4 degrees, not flat, but 4 degrees would be the minimum around there. The maximum would be 20 inches for every 12 inches. So it's almost more steeper than you'd really want to walk on. But the minimum would be 2 inches for every 12 inches, and the maximum 20 inches for every 12 inches for the roof pitches on the solar glass roof.
And to kind of go off of that too, if you look at a flat roof with traditional solar panels, the solar panels are not laying flat on those flat roofs. They are at an angle and they're pitched a little bit too, usually 5, 10, 15 degrees. So I think the issue with flat roofs is you just, even with the solar shingles, you just can't have these electronics sitting flat. They need to be pitched in a little bit. So that's why the Tesla roof does require a pitch. And yeah, so flat roof, so traditional solar panels can be installed on flat roofs. They just have to be pitched a little bit.
Great, thank you. We've got a question here about the heat generated by solar shingles, and the reason, just to give a little background on this question, the reason that regular solar installations are elevated from the roof, in part at least, is because the solar panels do generate heat when they convert sunlight into electricity. So Kelly, do you have any feedback or information regarding thermal impact from roofing tiles or flush-mounted panels? Do they require additional venting or face significant thermal power degradation?
Yeah, so there was one other kind of big solar shingle, solar roof name within the last few years that maybe some people have heard of. They were called Powerhouse shingles, and they were from Dow. And they were thin film solar, which is a different kind of solar generation than traditional silicon solar panels. But they kind of failed because of that heat issue, because the thin film panels could not be installed that closely to the roof. The heat generated, it was too much buildup, and the panels actually failed because panels cannot work when they are extremely hot. So that's kind of why that big name started to phase out of the industry. And so now in this maybe second wave of solar shingles, especially with Tesla, I think they have that much better figured out. So we're not seeing those issues as much. And maybe Steven can talk about airflow a little bit better and more specifically with the Tesla product.
Sure, just a tiny touch on it, but it's between the weatherization material that goes in, and that's basically going to protect you from everything. It's not going to generate enough heat or energy on that roof to transfer in and do any damage. It's rated for all those sorts of things.
Great. I've got a couple of questions here that I'm going to string together that involves builders. And I think, Steven, if you have any ideas on this, do you sell Tesla roof shingles to owner builders is one question. And another question is, I have heard that many builders won't install solar roof tiles on new construction. This limits the market to roof replacement. And they ask, one, is this true? And if it's true, is there anything being done to persuade builders to use solar tiles? Any thoughts on that?
Sure. To touch on the first part of it, unfortunately, only Tesla-approved contractors, which at this time is only the Tesla Energy warehouses, it's all in-house, are allowed to perform the tear-off and the installation of the products just to maintain the 25-year weatherization warranties. It's mainly for all those sort of things. Once I'm sure that at some point in the coming years, we'll get into the certified installer partners like we do with some of our other stuff. But as far as the solar roof right now, it's only in-house Tesla. Remind me the second part of the question.
The second part of the question was, do you see builders resisting using solar tiles at all because it reduces the market for roof replacement?
I don't know about too many people preventing it from happening. I know of Tesla doing several new builds where we've presented blueprints of homes that were being built, even in that stage of the process, to our design team, who just know that in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whenever that project is going to be completed, and we can kind of continue making sure that roof gets installed at that time. So there are a lot of cases where, I mean, their HOA laws are different almost county to county. I mean, they definitely are, but they're neighborhood to neighborhood even. But yeah, new builds haven't been a problem for us in the past.
Great. We've got a lot of questions stacking up. We have 20 more questions on the list here. And thank you for all your questions. These are really great questions. We are going to keep going until we run into any kind of issue with people having to run off and tackle other parts of their day. And we'll try to get to all of them. But if you do have more questions, if you could put them in the Q&A box and not in the chat, just because it makes it easier to manage, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I think if we start going long, we can also gather any unanswered questions and shoot them to our guests via email to folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next question is, what is your solution for snow seasons where your roof is covered with snow most of the time? And I think that's asking, how does that affect solar production?
Yeah, so okay, so solar panels, you know, they do generate heat, and if they are at a tilt, they will warm up throughout the day. And so if you do have snow on them, the thought or the practice is that snow will naturally just kind of slide off of the solar panels. Since they are glass, kind of slippery, the snow is not going to stay on there. If you do have a lot of snow, if you are in, you know, where was it, Buffalo, that got like 2 feet of snow within, you know, less than a day. In those situations where the solar panels are not able to warm up and start generating power, a simple broom can help to get the snow off of the panels. If you are able to do that safely from, if the solar is installed on your home, if you are able to do that from the ground, that is also an option. But even on large solar farms, the process is to just kind of let nature do its trick. That one day of maybe limited power output is really not going to make that big of a difference for your yearly output. So that's traditional solar. Yeah.
Yeah, great. This next question is, with about 5 pounds per square foot of load, do you find that most homes can accommodate that load? It seems like most roofs are designed to hold at least 3 layers of asphalt shingle at about 2.5 pounds per square foot, which is the number of layers allowed by code, and about 7.5 pounds per foot. And I think you touched a little bit on that. Was that Steven? I don't know if either of you have any answers to that.
Just a quick and short answer to it. I mean, to answer the question, if do I find that most homes can accommodate the load? Yes. And not to be too general with it, but that is painting with a rather broad stroke. But typically, yes, it hasn't been a barrier too much.
Great, thank you. This next question is, traditional rack solar uses the air gap present for cooling. I think oh wait. No, this is a slightly different take on this question. Are the BIPV units, and maybe you can unpack that acronym, because that's not coming to mind for me, Kelly, but are they able to withstand hot areas of the country like Southern California or Arizona?
Yeah, so BIPV is building integrated PV. I kind of call it building applied PV. That's what the solar shingles are. So can solar shingles be installed in hot areas? Yes. You know, Steven, they're doing Tesla installations in California and across the country. So the Tesla solar shingles, they are tested to the same UL standards as solar panels, and so all solar panels are able to work in all areas. The The one thing with heat is that your efficiency may go down slightly on an extremely hot day, but again, when looking at your yearly output, it's not really that much of a detriment to going solar.
Great, thanks. This next question is about your experience as a homeowner or potentially small business owner when you decide to install a solar roof. First off, just a geographic specific question. They ask about when this will be available in the Midwest, but they also ask how long typically for a quote after you get a survey. What is the wait time for the product, and are there installers that you send out? And I think you spoke to that, Steven, that it's mostly in-house Tesla folks. And I think, unless you have any info on other installers, Kelly, maybe this is a question for Steven.
Yeah, probably for Steven.
Oh, all good. A couple things to answer in there. When are we going to be in the Midwest? Not soon enough. Same thing for the Northeast. It's really for everywhere. We're going to expand as absolutely quickly as we can. I know Elon was quoted a few times as saying like either I think both 2019 and 2020 at this point, we're going to be the years of solar or the years of solar roof. And we have a lot of really, really amazing stuff happening, like with the Buffalo Gigafactory ramp up and so many things happening, you know, in the midst of, you know, whatever we can do safely and comfortably in the midst of our crazy times. As far as timeline on it, just a really, really, really quick overview on what it looks like. You're talking about from the time you place your order or the time you even get a design. The way the process is going to work is that you're going to get a quote based on an auto-generated survey and roof design. So like when you go to that calculator and you plug in your address, it's going to give back an auto-generated survey. Then you're going to sign and accept that quote, which kicks off the install ready process. Then we perform that site survey to come out and assess if there's any additional roof repairs, such as water or structural damage, that you'll receive an updated quote on if that needs fixing. Once we get the permit and permission to install from the utility, then the installation date is scheduled. That permitting and installation permission from the utility can take up to a few months depending on your utility. But that's not really barring us from continuing to install. After we receive the governing body inspection and utility approval, hopefully no more than 1.5 months at best, then you make a final payment, we turn the solar roof on.
Great. We have a question about the Tesla warranty. You mentioned you guys guarantee that production won't drop more than 0.5% per year, and they're wondering how is that verified and tested?
Sure. Just one of the beauties of just to tout the Tesla good phrases a lot. I mean, we have the app so you can monitor everything from your solar production to storage and the storm watching if weather was to be coming in, inclement weather. You've seen it in Florida with hurricanes coming in, will automatically fill people's power walls up and things like that. But basically, long story short, the active monitoring that you do in your app will allow you to see how much you're producing. And of course, we have all that data as well. So it's being sent back to us and we're actively monitoring to make sure that you're producing exactly what you should be throughout that time. Because if you get any drop in power, there'd be no way we would want an underproducing system out there. We want the best of the best out there, and especially for you, we want your power needs taken care of exactly how we said it would. So the way that we monitor it is just a benefit of how we do business. I mean, you can monitor the cars to a T right from your app. Just that you swipe right on over, and then you can see all your home energy monitoring right there as well. Great.
And yeah, a lot of most manufacturers have basic production monitoring and other types of monitoring. Great. So there's a couple of questions here that I'm going to fuse together about how the Tesla system in particular deals with shading. First question is, how does the Tesla system deal with different roof pitches and exposures, north, south, east, west? And how does the Tesla roof handle shading? Do the rest of the panels work when some of the tiles are shaded?
Yeah, the orientation is the same as traditional panels. If you're up here in the northern hemisphere, the west and south facing roofs are going to be your best. That's not the same everywhere, but the way that the Tesla tiles work are just the same as that same orientation. As far as the shading goes, it's a traditional inverter. There's no micro inverters, so I'd have to dig more into how each of the systems are working now, because there's a lot of inverter changing going on. So let's get a quote ready back to you, and let's see what inverters we're using at the time, and then if they'll keep your whole system on at that time.
Great. This next question is, how do you estimate the watt generation from panels, your home needs, and the electrical company grid allowance per household? So I think the question is, how do you know how much solar you need? And that's true whatever kind of solar product you're purchasing. And I can take that. It's typically the installer will come in and they will take a look at your annual electrical consumption, take a look at an old power bill, and the way that net metering is structured. And net metering is the process by which you can take electricity in from the grid and you pay the utility for it. You can also put electricity out and get credit back from the utility. You can use those credits then to buy more electricity from the utility. You can bank those credits, but depending on how your net metering program is structured, here in Oregon at least, those credits don't roll over in the course of a year. And so systems typically are sized in Oregon to not exceed the annual production of they are sized so your annual production does not exceed your annual consumption of electricity, so that you're not losing return on investment value on that system. Our next question here is, compared to the cost of replacing a roof and adding traditional solar, what is the cost of a similar sized Tesla roof? Kelly, I think one of your slides,
go ahead.
A little bit to that, and of course, Steven, I'm sure you'll have a good thing to say on that.
Yeah, I talked about it a little in my slide. I don't know if Steven maybe had some more appropriate numbers, or if what I had was cool to go back over.
I really like the numbers you had, and I would again be answering this question with too broad of an answer, because it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation. But as far as the approximate numbers, yeah, what you had is very accurate.
Okay, I can pull that slide back up if you guys would be okay with that.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people
And while you're doing that, I guess we should say we're scheduled to be done at 1-ish. Steven and Kelly, are you okay staying an extra 10 minutes or so to try to get to our other questions, or do you have to go?
Yeah, that should be fine.
I might have to jump, but I am more than happy to get everything answered in the Q&A, the email.
Okay, that's great. So Steven, if you have to run, we can just take this question, then one more, and then we'll close and we'll get to the other questions at the end. Does that sound good to everyone? Got it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so just to go back over this, just going back over my notes. So this was the Tesla estimate I had was for a 2,000 square foot roof, and it generated 10 kilowatts of power. And so the cost estimate from online was $42,500. And then if you looked at comparison, if it was a 2,000 square foot home with a brand new roof, and the roofing shingles were $4 per square foot, plus a 10 kilowatt solar system based on the average install in Oregon, it was about $34,400. So there's about a $10,000 difference, but you have to look at the aesthetics of that. So, and this was all just basic information that I used with online calculators.
Great.
The last thing, just a note on there as far as the generalities of the pricing that I was referring to. On our last shareholder meeting, Elon was quoted as saying that we have a shot at being equal to a comp shingle roof plus someone's utility cost, or being lower than that. So that is the idea, is that we want to be one of the cheapest roofs available while also producing power. So you can have a great roof with better economics than a normal, fairly cheap roof plus your bill.
Great. And I'll ask this last question here, but before I do, I know that someone asked in the chat, are we going to have a recording, and also our PowerPoint slides going to be available? We will have a recording up on our YouTube channel and on the Solar Oregon YouTube channel, and we'll send out a link to that in an email within the next couple days. So definitely take a look for that. And Kelly, Steven, can we share your slides for folks to take a look at?
Sure, yeah.
Is that
Potentially, yes.
potentially? Okay, well, yeah, no pressure. Get back to us. If not, we'll have this recording. Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. No pressure. Let me know. All right, so our last question here is, I'm an architect in North Carolina and have clients interested in Tesla roof panels, but it seems like no one from Tesla working out in our area, only Powerwall available here. Any thoughts? And you kind of spoke to that a little bit, Steven, already.
Yeah, we like I said, we can't get to the entire U.S. or further quick enough. The goal of Tesla is to just to accelerate that sustainable energy as quickly as we can anywhere that may be. And just as our resources continue to be spread thin wherever those may be, from vehicle to storage to solar production and everything in between, a lot of times we have to shift, and we only have enough resources at a lot of given time to be tackling so many things. And you know, we're growing as quick as we can, and we're still, in a lot of people's eyes, considered that little guy who will never be as big as anyone else. But at the same time, we're really doing everything we can to grow and make it happen. So unfortunately, it feels like baby steps to make it happen. But all those baby steps in the right direction are going to equal us getting to you sooner than you think.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Thank you to Kelly and Steven for being fantastic panelists. Like Zach said, we'll be sending out the YouTube video, and we will, I'll be sending the remaining questions to our panelists to see if they can answer them offline, and we'll include that in an email to all people who signed up for this webinar. Thank you so much. Really exciting technology. Join us on June 20th for our solar resiliency webinar, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks all.
Thanks.